Williams, the editor of Empire Magazine Australia. I'm coming to you live from London via some form of high-tech sorcery, and I had two very esteemed guests with me here today. The star of Ready Player One, Tye Sheridan, and a hot up-and-coming new director by the name of Steven Spielberg, who I'm sure is going to do great things. Please give them a huge Australian welcome and round of applause. Okay, so we're going to be taking some questions from two of the Melbourne cinemas and two of the Sydney cinemas. So up first, I believe we have Kevin on standby in Sydney who's going to be asking the first question. Hey.
So firstly, the movie was fantastic, so thank you for doing that. And my question, which is for Stephen.
Thank you.
Given the cultural references that you have in the movie and the book, which one were you most excited about including in the film?
Oh my goodness, that's a hard question because there was so much discussion about what to draw from the book and what to draw from our own experiences growing up in the 80s. I made so many of my audience movies in the 80s. But I think the pop cultural reference that I liked the most, because I think Tye was agree with this, we both agree with this, is the Iron Giant.
I would definitely agree.
We're bringing it back.
Fantastic. And next we have ready to ask a question, Lauren in Melbourne. So throwing it over to Lauren.
Thank you so much, Stephen and Tye. It was an absolute pleasure to watch the film. I wanted to ask, actually can be anyone in the Oasis. Stephen, which of your movie characters would you choose to live as in the Oasis?
Oh, which movie character would I choose to be in the Oasis from my movies?
Yeah, from your movies. Yeah.
Jaws. It would have to be an aquatic version. I wouldn't, not growing amphibious legs or anything like that. It would just be Jaws. Just plain old Jaws.
And how about you, Tom?
Oh, from Stephen's movies.
I've been so many, you know.
Yeah, I know. I would possibly be Jude Law from AI.
That's cool.
Yeah, cool guy.
Gigolo Joe.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lauren. And we are now going to cut over to George in Sydney, Cinema 2. George, what's your question, my friend?
First of all, thanks a lot for a magical film that everyone loves. And my question is, in this world, like everything is CGI, everything is digital, what's the biggest challenge for a director and an actor when you have to work with these digital environments and CGI characters?
Well, Tye can answer that because he was the digital actor. He was the actor that had to play his own avatar.
Okay, I'll answer that. And then you can answer what it's like to direct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, fine. I think it comes with a lot of challenges, and it's so in itself it's very challenging, but it's also very freeing because you get to revert back to a place where you're your most imaginative and uninhibited, and it really takes a clean, a blank palette, and because you're in a volume, a motion capture costume with reflective tracking markers all over you, and you kind of have to visualize and create the environment around you. And of course, guys like this help out when that's the case. But it's it's also freeing in itself because you get to solely focus on your other actors across from you and really hone in on that.
There's pros and cons about asking actors to imagine a set, imagine what the other character looks like, because you're really looking at somebody that looks like they're landing on Mars. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen behind the scenes of motion capture. It's not the most romantic way to do a love scene, especially when Tye and Olivia were doing the dance on wires in the distracted globe, the zero gravity dance. Very romantic scene, that was the intention, but when you watched it being put together, it was almost a comedy of errors. But a movie like this where half takes place in the real world and half takes place in the Oasis, which was created by ILM, there was just so many artists, 800, 900, digital artists, character artists, background artists that painted the landscapes, artists that did nothing but focus on the details to make the Oasis seem utterly real. And it took 3 years, the movie, from the time I read the book and the script and to the time I'm sitting here talking to all of you. This is one of the longest projects I've ever been involved in. It was a 3-year project from start to finish.
Thank you. Con Australia.
Thank you, George. Next, we're going to cut over to Paul Verhoeven in Melbourne. Paul, I loved your film Robocop. Not so sure about Robocop, definitely a winner.
Yeah, I'm actually aging very well. It's all the stem cells. I have a question for you both, Tye, Stephen. Why do you think people are so relentlessly obsessed with the 80s? I mean, we can't get enough of the 80s right now. Nostalgia is sort of like, it's a real kick in the pants. So why are we so horny for the 80s? And why did I just say horny to Stephen?
What was the last one?
He said, why are we so horny for Steven Spielberg? That's not what I said.
What you did say, and I did hear the first thing you said, which I heard. I think we're nostalgic for the 80s because it was a stress-free decade. I mean, I existed in the 80s as well, and Tye was born not in the 80s after that, but for me, it was relatively a stress-free decade. Everything was sort of innocuous. Style, music, except it was great Duran Duran, great Eddie Van Halen songs. It was a place when Ronald Reagan, we had an actor as a president, and he actually was articulate and made sense to all of us, even though I'm a Democrat, not a Republican. But and I think with what's happening in the world right now, and even when Ernie wrote the book and it came out in 2014, I think we feel that there have been times in the past that the present kind of forces us to return to, at least those who existed in the 80s, and even those that didn't, because I think you can still relate to the movie not having been born in the 80s because social media and because of YouTube and Google. The 80s, the 70s, every decade is so accessible to all of us today.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Our next question is coming from Katarina in Sydney. Katarina, step on up.
Hi. Personally, would you choose to play the game, and if so, how do you think you'd fare?
If you had to really play Halliday's game, as Tye, as Stephen,
I would totally play.
You would play, but
Sure.
how would you do?
How would I do? Probably not as well as my avatar Parzival. He wins the egg, But I would definitely play. I think there's something something fascinating about escaping to a completely immersive world, which is, why I think these characters can, there's such danger in the Oasis. I think if you let it be. And I think that it's, but that's why I love VR, you have the ability to just kind of escape and lose yourself and forget where you're existing in the physical realm. And that was powerful to me as far as immersive entertainment. So I would definitely play James Halliday's game.
And I would play too, but I wouldn't do very well. My reaction time is not as fast as it used to be when I was great at asteroids in the 1980s. Nobody could beat me at asteroids, the coin-op game in those days. Nowadays, I would not fare very well. many people would get the egg before me.
Great, thank you for that question, Katerina. Next we have Kai in Sydney for her question, or he.
Okay, mate, I'm going with a he on that one. Hi, Stephen and Tye. Potentially for both of you. With the, I guess, the progression of virtual and augmented reality these days, do either of you see the Oasis as a potential future for planet Earth?
I do, but only as only in moderation. Everything in moderation. You know, the Oasis. We've always been looking for escape. You know, my parents had radio. When I was a kid, had television for the first time. TV was a new thing, believe it or not, when I was a kid. You know, and then basically the internet came along, and then social networking, and there's always been ways to escape. I think I watch my own kids today, and they all kind of are in mini oases because they're buried in their devices. I mean, everything, their whole oasis, their whole world is right here in their hand. Imagine that portable oasis that you can carry around with you suddenly being so totally immersive as you experience watching the movie that you are social networking but making eye contact. You're not going to get bone spurs in your neck from looking down when you're 70 years old. You're going to be looking up, you're going to be getting exercise, you'll be on a haptic treadmill, and you'll be able to really coexist in a digital world. I think that is going to happen someday. But I also think that is, because I think our film is also, I think it's a fun movie, but it's also a cautionary tale. It is a place that we may not want to leave, and that's where it becomes a dangerous place. It almost becomes a super drug.
Great, wonderful question, Kai. Thank you. And next up, we are going to Pete in Melbourne.
Gentlemen, wow, that was phenomenal. Suffice to say, my fiance sitting next to me turned to me at the end and said, that would be like this generation's ET. So I think you might be onto something.
Thank you.
Wow.
Look, Stephen, a couple of years ago, you said at a press conference that your love for cinema came from paying attention to the past and respecting all the movies that have been made over those years. When we get there, I'm curious, and possibly both of you, how do you think the residents of 2045 will respond to your film?
Oh, in 2045.
I think that, I don't know, I think that Ernie Klein does a great job of, in the book, justifying why people want to escape to a virtual world, and that's because overpopulation has become such a large issue, and that the world has become this dystopian place that is not as glamorous as a virtual one. So it makes sense for everybody in the story in 2045 to want to go to the Oasis or want to spend most of their time there. But I think, you know, if we consider and think about try to predict the future or what people would think about in the reality of 2045 when we get there, I think, you know, I won't speak for Stephen, but I mean, I don't think it'll be as dystopian. I don't think it will be.
I agree.
I think we're always going to have that feeling and the desire to escape, but we've been doing that since the beginning of time with storytelling, and that, you know, it just changes through different mediums and different formats. But I think I would like to say that I have a bit more hope than
the movie does.
The movie does.
I agree with Tye. I don't think we'll be as dystopian in our real world in 2045 as the film depicts, but when you asked the question, what will this movie be like, how will this film be received in 2045, well, there's a very famous movie in the movie you just saw where our characters actually, through a process which is described in the book, it's called flick sync, can merge and become players in somebody else's movie. So in 2045, anybody can be in Ready Player One if they want to. They can just play the game inside the game, if that makes any sense.
messing with my head, but that sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
This movie messed with my head, believe me.
Wonderful. Okay, great. We have time for one more question, which is going to come from Doe in Melbourne. What is your question?
Hi guys, I just wanted to ask, with technology getting better and better, do you think virtual reality will become a part of the cinema-going experience in the future?
I don't think it'll be. I think it's going to be an entirely different medium. I think augmented reality, where you're still aware of the world you're in, but you see another world superimposed over the world you exist in, I think that is more conducive to a narrative form of storytelling, like movies tell, than virtual reality. Because why, go on a date and take your date to the movies and sit in the theater with 1,000 people and suddenly put a headset on where you can't see your date, where you can't see your kids if you bring your kids to a movie. I think virtual reality, when you have the entire headset, which cuts out the world you're in to introduce a new world to you, is a whole different sort of level of high involvement, of interaction and entertainment. And I don't think it goes hand in hand with storytelling.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. And look, we're out of time for questions, but we do want to have a quick look at Andrew and his T-shirt. I'm not sure
Andrew's T-shirt.
I'm not sure what this entails. Let's have a look. Andrew, can we get Andrew on screen?
Hi, Spielberg.
Hey.
I'm a filmmaker because of you. Thank you so much.
Hi, Andrew.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Filmmaker because of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Fallen Kingdom coming out in June.
Excellent, guys. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful questions. Please give a very warm round of applause for our guest, Stephen and Tye.
Good night.